Okay, I'm only doing this because I want to give Andy a break. And also for the benefit of those who probably don't quite understand the full history behind the OpenWayback project. The Norwegian developer John Erik was expected to come here and also to talk about OpenWayback. Unfortunately, he can't make it in person this time. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk very briefly, give you an overview about the project, how we work, and also to encourage you to take part in this project, because we do need more help. And then Andy is going to give a component level overview of the project.
Oh yeah, I am online. Sorry, I'm
That's fine. Well, I'm talking instead of you, so that you can have a break and have a glass of water. Right. So I don't think I need to explain what Wayback is. It is the de facto software used to display, to view archived content.
Maybe it's out of the scope question, but can you say a few words about this history beyond Internet Archive, which they use, as I understand, they use different Wayback. It's
Okay,
not,
I'll try.
It's not Java Wayback, it's Perl, and
I think
it's
it's
proprietary. Is it
not any longer.
Not.
That's ancient history.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They don't use the Perl stack anymore. So.
Yeah, that was how they started off, I think, in 2005. I think they had probably consistently used two versions, haven't they? There's the open source Wayback machine, which they have made available to the community, and I think they have always used the internal version as well. Don't quite know the details, but I'm almost certain that there have been two versions. So since the release of the software in 2005, a lot of us actually make use of the OpenWayback machine, open source Wayback machine. I think it was in 2013, not a long time ago, when Internet Archive decided to hand over the lead repository to the IIPC. I think it was probably a mutual agreement in that at the Internet Archive there are changes of business objectives, and also from the IIPC members' point of view, there seems to be a requirement for the software to be more responsive to the wider community's needs, put it that way. I think that is when the OpenWayback project was launched by the IIPC. I'll talk about the project a little bit more, but just to say that the Internet Archive continues to develop Wayback. Their fork can be found at the URL, which is on the slide. And the intention is that we sync the two repositories, the OpenWayback by IIPC, owned by the IIPC, so that the changes are consistent, that there's no significant divergence. So the OpenWayback project, which was launched in 2013, October 2013, is supported by the IIPC and its members. So there is a dedicated developer based at the National Library of Norway. I think he started sometime after the General Assembly last year. And the current funding phase is for, I think, 18 months. And also, on a contribution in kind and voluntary basis, a number of us from different institutions have since worked on the project. I'm currently coordinating the project because we had some changes in the role of the IIPC Program and Communications Officer. So I think the intention is for the IIPC Program Officer to actually oversee this project. So I'm still stepping in just to help out here. So the group of us work closely with the developer every 3 weeks we'll have a call take place. We'll look at the issues, look at the progress, and we typically would allocate a set of actions for people to go away and work on. We come back. So we have set up quite a few things to help us work together. So there's a GitHub repository set up, including a wiki and an issue tracker, and there's documentation explaining how one could participate and take part in the project. There is also, I think that all these, there's also information on the IIPC website, and there's also a developers mailing list, which is actually used more widely by people interested in the software, not necessarily taking part in the call, for example. And we do have at least we try, we do have a way of surveying or gathering requirements from the members. So we did a survey among the IIPC members in 2013, end of 2013, I think. And there's a summary, a write-up of the survey results, which I can make available if people are interested. I have emailed that to the IIPC members list, but if you're interested, you can get a copy. And also we have recently surveyed a number of researchers which are predominantly working in the space of web archives. A couple of examples: Ian Milligan of University of Waterloo in Canada, who's a historian and quite actively using archived web resources for research. And we also asked Jane Winters, Director of Research at the Institute of Historical Research, University of London. So we asked a set of simple questions, asking them to rate, Wayback, and to ask them about their future requirements. Interestingly, both of them came back, among other things, said that it would be great if they don't have to rely on knowing the URL or the exact URL to find a resource in a massive web archive, which I think is an indication of the fact that many of us still do not have a full text search available as an access possibility. So I think when the project was conceived, one of the main goals really is to produce stable releases with good enough documentation, and also to form some sort of a community, to have a way for IIPC members to benefit from the latest code, including bug fixes, and to be able to migrate from legacy versions, because the content we collect evolve, the tool need to do that too. I think in that sense, in terms of a stable release and reasonable documentation, the project has achieved that goal. So we released 2.00 in September 2014. I think a number of us actually already use this version in production. I know ourselves do that. National Library of Iceland does that too. Any other people, any other institutions using Swiss Archive, BNF, and NetArchive, the Danish archive? So that is great. And one of the purpose of this workshop or training really is also to give those who are willing or moving that direction, the sort of help you needed to move that way. Where the project now, we had a little bit of a delay because of some resource issues, but this is being picked up, and a thank you to the National Library of Norway, still sort of backing up and supportive of the project, sending Roger and Sverre and someone else, Thomas, to join us this time. We have planned another point and a minor release, which should take place in the next couple of months. Fingers crossed. And yesterday we actually met here face to face, a number of us. We have a outline or a work plan, which will take us till the end of 2015. There are decisions to be made. For example, I think we're thinking about deprecating the ARC writer, but that needs to go to the community and mailing list just to make sure everybody's happy with that sort of decision. And some of the work items needs to be scoped in detail, but I think on the whole, we're thinking about doing something on the user interface to make customization more flexible or easier. And we are also going to continue work on the code base to make it easier for further development. And there are a few proposed additional features which we want to add to OpenWayback. I don't remember all of them. Access control is one. What else? Those who were there yesterday.
IDN.
Sorry?
IDN support.
Yeah. So the support of non-ASCII characters, international domain names, and things like that. So this will, after the workshop, we need to write that up and communicate that with the rest of us. And also there's, at the moment, the Internet Archive and the OpenWayback repositories are out of sync. I think we're talking about over 180 changes.
I think Kenji just pulled in a more recent, so I think we're a bit closer.
Brilliant, because he did say he was going to work on that and I was going to chase him. There you go. So that's all.
There's still a little bit of a time difference, but it's a lot less than it was.
Brilliant. That's good. So that needs to take place for some of the things we want to do, to happen. So that's all good. Without further ado, I think Andy probably can talk now again, or catch his own breath. But before I hand over the floor to Andy, could I please ask you, if you think this is important to you and your institution, and if you think this is pertinent to web archiving, and if you have the skills and the willingness, please could you join us and give us a hand. You can speak to me, you can speak to Christine, and Andy. Quite a lot of I think there are a few people who regularly participate in this course, and we'll be very happy to have some new blood. And also, if for any reason you can't help, at least let us know your requirements. I think that should be of interest to you as well.
I understand correctly then that there's one developer in Norway, full-time.
Yes.
And how many other are contributing?
Okay, so approximately we're talking about a dozen, 2 dozens. I don't know. I mean, regular attendees to the course, I think, is about around 10, 15. 10,
15.
Yeah.
And
regular active.
And this the Norwegian developer is moderating commits or accepting commits?
No, there are.
No, we have a committee group who
Committee
review commits, who are the subset of the people who are on that call, and there's about 4 people.
4 people. Yeah.
And how often?
How often? What?
How often do you review commits?
We try and do it promptly when they turn up, because they don't turn up that often. So we try and do it within a few days when the pull requests turn up.
Yeah, so
it depends a bit on how complicated they are. If it affects a lot of code, probably it will take longer. If it's straightforward, it might get approved the same day.
Yeah. I think that
there isn't a lot of dev time outside of John and Eric, outside of full time.
Would you be able to offer a very compelling, just very short argument as to if I was in a position to choose Wayback or OpenWayback, why would I choose OpenWayback over Wayback? And then it's not for me to choose; it's for my bosses and people who check.
Should I send that to Steve?
Basically, you can see where I'm going with it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Is there? I mean, that's.
But we obviously, I'll note that down. I'll think about how we go about that, because we want to be useful, but also taking into account what other developments elsewhere. And
Yeah.
maybe the best thing actually is to do something about that, or announce that at the GA when everybody's together. Yeah, that's me.